I think one of the problems that people have with the whole discussion of free will versus fate is that if indeed God is orchestrating everything, then how is there moral accountability? God made me do it. I think it's helpful to be able to separate two concepts which become conflated with each other. And that is that there can be moral accountability without causation. In other words, there can be something you didn't actually cause, but you're still morally accountable. I'll give you an example. There was the Milgram experiment where they wanted to see if people would follow orders. What they did is they set it up where volunteers, I think it was at Yale, so on campus, they would come in and all they would be told is that we're going to test whether or not administering an electric shock will cause people to answer questions more accurately. They have one person sitting there with the control panel with a dial and a button, supposedly administering an electric shock, and they ask questions from another person who they don't see, who's in another room and they can hear over a radio. They ask the question. If the person answered wrong, they would be told, push the button administering the shock. Most people were sort of hesitant to do it, but if there was any hesitancy, the one administering the test would say, it's very important for the purposes of this experiment that you push the button. And then they would push the button. Now, the next time there was a wrong answer, they would be told, turn up the dial and push the button again. Turning up the dial meant to make a stronger shock. And they would do it. And if they resisted or they hesitated, the one administering the experiment would say, it's very important for the purposes of the experiment to follow the instructions. And basically everybody did it. And at the end, they revealed that the person on the other side of the wall was just an actor. There was no electric shock. Nobody was being hurt at all. It was just a science experiment to see if you were willing to do it. So imagine that you were the subject of this experiment and you find out later that you weren't really shocking anyone. Nobody was getting shocked. Does that change your opinion of yourself? Meaning, if you could extract the cause and effect, you weren't really causing anything to happen. But morally, does that really change the accountability? After all, you were willing to do it. So imagine like this. Everything's orchestrated by God. Everything's happening because He's causing it to happen, not you. Yet, the fact that you are the willing volunteer to be the conduit or the messenger for that negative thing to be delivered to somebody else's life. So even if God's in control and you're not causing it, but you are willing to be the vehicle for that to happen, and therefore that itself is cause for remorse and soul searching and introspection so that you can become a better person, the kind of person that will not be the willing messenger for that negative experience. The point is that God can be in control of everything, and at the same time, we are accountable for our choice, even if we're not the cause. God is the cause, but our willingness to be messengers, that is what we're morally accountable for.